Hey Steak Club, Struan here, and this is our chef Barry Horn. He's the Provenance head chef. There's a lot of talk about how to cook a steak the best way. Loads of different ways of doing it, reverse it, in the oven, all that sort of stuff. But we thought we would give you our take on it, Barry's take on it. So we're going to cook this month's Steak Club steak, which is the Jacinto Portuguese ex-dairy beef that we have. So we've got the ribeye here.
Awesome.
Take it away, chef.
Okay, right. So, I mean, look, there's a million ways you can cook a steak. A million ways. Cast iron's great because it holds so much heat. On a barbecue is great because over fire, everything is better over fire. We just have a normal non-stick pan today, just what we're working with, what we do.
Right.
But yeah, something like cast iron. I like a flat base because you want to kind of get a really nice sear on there. You want to get, concentrate the flavor. You want to get a nice Maillard reaction on there.
Yeah, I mean, as good as the tan lines look, right?
Yeah.
You're getting, those are the bits that are caramelizing, and then you're getting the spaces in between that. They end up steaming a little bit almost, right?
Absolutely.
And that's not the same, not quite the same.
No. So, but also you want to be generous with your seasonings. It's a big old hunk of meat. Some of this will come off in the pan. You're not going to be eating all this.
No oil in the pan?
No oil. There's enough fat, especially in these ex-dairies. There's so much fat in there.
Really dark
it's muscular.
colour as well.
Yeah, this looks incredible actually. It smells incredible as well. So again, season both sides well.
I mean, if you had your way, you'd have a lot of butter in there as well, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, like always, I'm buttery baz. That's what it is. I mean, like with normal steaks, I'll finish it with your butter and your garlic and your herbs. You'll baste it. With something like this, we want to find out what the flavor is like, so we're just going to keep it just plain, pure, as is. We don't want to mess around with it too much.
Randy, I think it will let it speak for itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
I mean, they've done all the hard work and aging it properly, and butchering it well, which you've just done. And that's kind of moderately well.
So something like this, I mean, this is that's like 1.5 inches, isn't it? It's a pretty thick cut.
It is.
High heat the whole time, consistent?
No, you want to keep it like a medium to high heat. You can, you're still going to get a good sear. Just don't be moving it around the place. It doesn't need to go everywhere. Just leave it as is. Forget about it in essence. Something like this will take a good few minutes.
It is. You want
feel
like you're doing something.
You want to have a look. You want to get underneath it and see, but just leave it. You want that real nice contact on the pan. No messing around with it. As soon as you move it, you're creating steam, you're creating moisture, and it's just
and losing contact.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So I've got this setting on a kind of a medium to high heat. I had it pretty hot to start off with, but the heat goes out of the pan as soon as you hit it with it.
Sure.
So that's going to drop it. So you just leave it off for I'd say something like this, 3 minutes at least, 2 to 3 minutes.
Each side.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's it. I mean, that will still leave it quite rare, but we had another. We had a slightly thinner ribeye off camera of the Portuguese, and unlike the Galician, I feel like you could eat it really rare.
Yeah.
Galician, you want to get a bit more heat into it, and I guess traditionally that sort of stuff was cooked over coals and then stood upright to take the ambient heat off it for a while.
Very much so.
But this we're going to be doing 350 gram steaks, and you can sear it hard, leave it rare.
Absolutely. Yeah. We'll give it a good rest as well. Everything like that, it's going to come up by 5-6 degrees when it's resting.
It's the longest part of any day is watching a steak.
It's like watching a pint of Guinness settle.
Yeah.
That's my hardest time. It always is. You gotta wait.
Yeah. You've got to hold on. So tell us a bit like Maillard reaction, right?
Yes.
So that is the proteins in the meat.
The proteins in the meat.
Getting the sugars out of those proteins and then caramelizing.
Yeah, exactly. Just gives you that intense brown colouring and flavour. That's where the flavour is. So
that's your umami.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. The natural sugars, caramelizing.
So for those that don't know, I'm sure many of you do, umami is like the thick taste, and that's what can be found in a lot of fermented goods.
So many things.
Soy.
Even tomatoes.
Yeah.
Parmesan. Mushrooms. Yeah,
Parmesan, all that sort of thing. So it's that satisfying, savoury. It's hard to describe, but it's
just like you want more.
It's the good stuff. Yeah, it's definitely the good stuff. Not that you want to drink a bottle of soy, but it sets something off in your brain. Right?
It does. It really does.
Yeah.
It's like
it tastes brown. A lot of brown things have a lot of umami in them. Don't get any umami in steamed broccoli, unfortunately. No.
Otherwise we wouldn't.
Otherwise I'd
have my magnificent figure.
Broccoli. So you can see that heat's working its way up through the rivers. Now you've got the tongs there. Would you be holding this? Are you going to sort of colour the sides? Hold it
I
upright
would do.
towards the
I would
end?
do, especially when on a thicker piece. On a thinner, not no need. There's absolutely no need. But it's like cooking on the bone as well. I'll sit it up on the bone to get your heat into the bone and kind of get more.
I mean, I'm finding it incredibly difficult not to grab the tools,
No.
flip it over, and just see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Got to trust your instincts, Baz. That's why you're a pro
Fine.
and I'm an amateur.
Definitely no pro.
I hope you are, mate.
Yeah,
you're our head chef.
Thank you, alright? I think we'll have a look in a minute. We'll see what it's looking like.
All right, don't
Spin it
be
around.
tempted into it just because I'm keen.
No. Yeah, that's looking pretty good.
That is looking really
It's
good.
got a really nice crust. And again, just give it a little press down. Don't move it, just press it down. So you're getting that beautiful contact all around. You can see, you can hear it. It's got a nice crust on there.
And also the crust that you're setting on the outside.
Yeah.
You know, people talk a lot about when they're making stews and that sort of thing,
Yeah.
sealing the meat. I buy into that a little bit, but it's more about creating a different texture on the outside.
It is, and
right?
it's building flavour. It's not like you're not sealing in anything. There's moisture going to come out of meat, whatever way it's going to be, whatever way you're going to cook it. You're not sealing it. You're just creating flavour, layers of flavour.
Layers of seasoning as well,
Layers
right?
of seasoning, yeah.
Salt cooked into it's going to feel different to the salt that's
Absolutely.
sprinkled over the end.
Yeah,
Different to
very
if
much
you
so.
salted it an hour before the cooking, it had
Yeah.
come into the meat a little bit as well.
Very much so.
On that,
Yeah.
I read an article a while ago on Serious Eats, I think it was, about when it's best to salt a steak.
Yeah.
And they're like either 24 hours beforehand or 20 seconds beforehand, but
Yeah.
not much in between. In your,
No.
when you're restaurant chefing, is that sort of...
Like over the
Things
years,
like
it was always an issue. Don't season too early because you're going to pull water out of the steak. But
Yeah.
then things like dry brining are incredible. They really do a big thing. Like I'm cooking some briskets at the minute, and dry brining that before, the night before, makes a massive difference.
But are you leaving that somewhere to letting the moisture
Drip out of it.
drain off? Yeah, I think the problem is if you get your steak out, a lot of people get their steak out of the fridge 2 hours before they put it on the barbecue.
Yeah.
You know, I do it. I leave it on a big chopping board in the kitchen so my friends come in and see it and get excited about it. You know, it's all part of the theatre of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you do end up with, like, if you salt it too early, little pools of water on
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But then if you don't really wipe that dry, it hits the pan or it hits the grill and it steams the meat and it
Yeah.
slows down
yeah, absolutely.
the maillard reaction. It slows down, it cools things down.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
yeah, so that's, you know, dry meat. Obviously dry aging,
Yeah.
you know, is pulling some of the moisture out, intensifying some of the flavours, but getting a clean tea towel or something like that, wiping down your steak.
Just getting that
Or if-
definition damp off it.
If your steak's coming vacuum packed or it's coming wrapped in paper, get it out your fridge, leave it open on your plate in your fridge for, you know, 24 hours beforehand if you can. It might discolour a bit, and, you know, don't do it if you've got really strong cheese in there, or don't leave it next to
Your pot of kimchi or something
yeah,
like that.
something like that, because it will pick up the flavours in the fridge. But if you've got a good clean fridge, and that will help dry it out. Fridges are naturally really dry environments.
Exactly. So I'm just gonna. This has probably been enough on the other side now. It's still quite rare. So we're gonna need another bit of time, but we're gonna go all around, and look at that. That's what we want.
That's the sizzle.
The worm. Same all around.
I feel like if I look out the window, there are going to be people being drawn towards it, like, you know, those Disney films where people float along.
Follow the scent.
Yeah. It smells amazing. You know, just looking at the beef when I was butchering it earlier, lovely yellow fat, tight marbling, no big chunky eyes of fat through it,
Yeah.
and really dark meat. I think that comes out. All these cows are similar to the Simmental. And the Galician that we do, they're 8 to 10 years old, from the northern parts of Portugal, where it's a little more temperate, a little cooler, but it's still a lot warmer than it's been here this summer. But and those animals are just out on lush pasture, and I'm really interested to do a little side-by-side tasting with this and the Spanish stuff, because it'll be subtle nuances, but there are different grasses and there'll be different things that they're eating, different microbial terroir and what they're
Climate,
eating, which may
everything.
affect the flavour, climate, perhaps cooler nights, you know, which will affect, it's all, you know, marginal gains at a certain point. And, you know, I've often compared beef to those sort of wine thing, the idea of it being in different parts of the country, different terroirs, different, you know, atmosphere around it and the environment. it's not going to taste drastically different. It's still going to taste like a killer steak, but there's little nuances that I think come through, and it does taste astoundingly different to British beef. Definitely.
Very much so.
But not always better, you know?
Not necessarily, no.
You can't say one thing's better than the other, although this is definitely better cooked than if I had done it.
So now I'm going to turn the pan off. I'm going to leave it sit there. I'm going to leave it rest.
You're going to let it rest in the pan. And
You can either, or you can in a warm place, or loosely cover. I don't like loosely covering it foil. I'd sooner eat it a little bit colder than have it covered over and steaming. It's just not. So that's fine. But the residual heat, well, we want it a bit more. Just going to just continue.
And what is the difference? What's going on there? What are you hoping to achieve by letting it rest out? Is that other than the temperature, obviously?
Other than the temperature, yeah, you want it to climb up slowly. You don't want it to go too fast. But then also, you don't want to slice into this straight away because you're just going to leak out everything. It's just all the moisture that you've tried so hard to cook well and to make it nice and moist. It's just going to come straight out of it. It's just going to create a big pool of what looks like blood. Everyone thinks it's blood, but it's not. It's just the water. And just leave it rest. Yeah. It really benefits it. The taste, the softness, everything just needs to relax.
It needs to relax. I think you're right. Like the molecules of water in there are bouncing around like crazy, fizzing around. And don't quote me on the science, but just needs to level out a little bit, right? And also temperature-wise, I think I said it in another steak video I did. That scientifically, like you've got a big wide range of what your olfactory nerve can taste.
Yeah.
But it gets blocked off by extreme heat and extreme cold.
Absolutely.
So somewhere in the middle, like a cold piece of steak out the fridge.
Yeah.
Does it taste waxy and not very nice? You want it up to sort of
and people, I think,
a little more.
over the years, people have wanted, their food piping hot. It's a big thing that food needs to be piping hot. It's never going to be piping hot. If you're cooking a medium rare steak, it's going to be 55 degrees hot. So that's not piping hot.
There was a real thing I remember growing up, eating out, like the excitement of getting those fajitas that came out on the
sizzle platters.
On the sizzle platters.
Yeah.
I thought it was the coolest thing in the world, but you probably never really got to taste what was going on.
You have to wait 10 minutes before you can eat it.
I mean, you burn yourself every time on it because you're like, is it really? Yeah, no, it is really hot.
Do it now.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. All right, Baz.
We'll leave that settle.
Yeah,
Nice.
let it settle. Give us a minute. We'll slice it up. We'll have a look. Thanks, mate.